Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Moto Dad Matt here. I'm coming at you with another video today. Today we've got some changes done to the Grom clone, and what I want to go over with y'all is basically just what I've done since I saw you guys last. I know it's been a while since I uploaded a video. I meant to a while ago, but you know, life gets in the way sometimes. But I plan on starting to upload at least once a week now, so we'll start getting some content out, start getting some questions answered, and we'll have some fun together. So first things first, this video is just about what I've done to the bike since the last time I made a video, because some things have changed. I haven't done a whole lot, but I've done a lot of work to do these things. So a couple changes, lots of work. Let's get to it. All right, so first things first, you'll notice, so we did the ZS 212 swap. The exhaust that I had on the 125 fits, and it actually works really well, and it sounds really nice. We'll definitely turn this thing on later, and I'll give you guys some sound clips, and we'll a couple revs once it gets a little warmer. That swap's fairly easy. You do have to modify a couple things to make it fit, but I'll do a video on that by itself, because there's a lot to cover on that whole subject there. But that's definitely one of the biggest things I've done since the last time I saw everybody. Also, what I've done is you guys can go to Z&Z Customs, Customs Design. I think it's just znzcustoms.com, and you can get yourselves a pair of these rear sets. They're solid. They don't fold. They act as a stunt cage, because I did have to remove my stunt cage in order to do the ZS 212. So I basically just sold the stunt cage and used what I sold the stunt cage for to buy those. And it came in a set. It came with rear axle pegs, which that one burnt a little bit because the exhaust is right there, so I'm gonna figure something out there, but I'm not too worried about it. And front axle sliders, they bolt right on. You don't need longer axles. They're bolt right up, go. Super easy to install, no problems, as long as you can get your bike in the air somehow. I have had a couple comments asking some questions, so I will address those during this video, just to get that out. I think I answered the comments. I try to reply to every single comment that I get, but sometimes I can't, but I try to. So one of those questions was, I believe, was for the cage on the 125. The brackets, you have to basically extend the bottom bracket that attaches to the engine down here on that. So I just made a couple strips of metal to attach to it, but completely honest with you, I don't think it was very structurally sound. It looked good, but I don't think it would have stopped the fall. But these things I know for sure are going to protect the bike. I've got pegs on all the axles. I've got them on both rear sets here. I've got my rear cage here. I've got some bar end sliders. So I've got plenty of protection. So with the ZS 212 swap that I did, so the carb that comes with it is a 128, I think, or sorry, a 28 millimeter Mikuni, I want to say, or Mikuni knockoff. I went to the 30 millimeter Oko flat slide carb, and it definitely makes a big difference. So another thing I did was, with that, you need to put a breather. Every engine has a breather tube on it, or PCV, whatever. Positive crankcase ventilation, just to get all that pressure out of the crankcase. I put a filter on there because I noticed I would start dripping some oil after some really long rides. So I put a little AutoZone filter on there. I had to rig it up to make it work, but it's worked so far. I've done a couple pulls on it, put about 150 miles on it with that filter on there, and it hasn't popped off or anything like that, and I haven't leaked any oil, so it's working pretty well. Also, I don't know if I addressed this in the last video. The shocks on these clones are super weak, and if you're a bigger guy like myself, I'm about 120 pounds, they're not going to do it for you, or they're going to go, you know, soft real quick. So what I did was I went to AutoZone and I picked up a quart of 30 weight oil, just straight 30 weight, not 5W30, not 10, just straight 30 weight oil, SAE 30 weight. And I filled the forks with that, with an equal amount of liquid that came out of, with equal amount of fluid that came out of them to begin with. And that makes a huge difference in the suspension. Now I just got to work on the back suspension, because I was going around a corner when I was riding this thing around my neighborhood. I was just having a little bit of fun, and I actually cornered so hard that I scraped. You could actually see the scrape on the exhaust pipe there. I scraped the exhaust on the ground, and it shredded the wrap, so I actually had to unwrap it. And I got lazy. I didn't want to cut these, and I didn't want to take the exhaust off to get it past the starter right here. So I just kind of left what's there. Call me lazy if you will. I'm not worried about it. Also, I need to cut this exhaust about here and extend it probably about an inch so that it fits better. Right now it's like really pressing on the starter right there, and I had to put 2-3 gaskets in there to make it fit, but I don't have any exhaust leaks, so we're good. And I put about 500 miles on this engine. What else have I done? You know, this bike, I gotta say, is I've ridden everything from a Ninja 250 to a Bandit, you know, Suzuki Bandit 1200 GS, and those bikes are torque monsters. Right now I have a Harley 2003 Harley Softail sitting in my garage, but I gotta say, these little bikes here are probably the biggest bang for your buck. You can have so much fun on these bikes, and it's just so innocent looking that people don't really care. You know, they're just like, ah, whatever. I've taken it off-roading, even though these tires aren't very good for it. I've jumped it. I've done all kinds of things, wheelied it through the parking lot. People love it. It's great. It's fun. You know, it's not super dangerous. You're probably not going to take anybody out but yourself. So, yeah, it's not, they're good. I love them. So, also, one thing I did was I put this Nibby clutch cable on here. Just because the stock clutch cable was stiff. I lubed it about as much as I could, and it was real wet. But it just wasn't super smooth. Even when it was lubed, I just don't think the quality was there from that part. I mean, we are talking about a Grom clone here, don't judge me. But the quality of that clutch cable just wasn't good enough, so I went with that Nibby, because you also need to extend that for that ZS212. And you know, I would recommend anyone who gets one of these Grom clones, one of the best things you can do to improve the bike itself is get the Grom chain adjusters. I don't have them on here right now, but I do have them. I haven't installed them yet. Just like the oil cooler that I have. I need to install the oil cooler and those chain adjusters. But if you plan on using your bike to wheelie or stunt, you're going to need those chain adjusters, because with the adjusters that come on these clones, it's almost impossible to get that back wheel perfectly straight. And if you're doing a wheelie, if your back wheel ain't straight, your wheelie ain't straight. So you got to keep that in mind, and you got to keep that good. Yeah, so a couple of the comments that I got were about that cage. So yeah, you would have to put brackets on there or extend the bottom bar of that cage to make a Grom cage fit. However, the rear sub cages do fit right up, so you don't have to make any modification for the rear sub cages. They work really well. The stock tires also that come on these Grom clones are hard as hockey pucks, so you could pick up a set of Shinkos that'll be a world of different. I mean, Shinkos are probably one of the cheaper tires, but you can pick a set up cheap, and it'll make a world of difference in the bike. I'm using the stock tires only because I'm using it to stunt with, and I plan on doing some burnouts and hooligan stuff with it in the parking lots. And so I'm just going to burn through them and then get a set of decent tires afterwards. But I've just spent a lot of time building the bike. I've spent more time building the bike than I have ridden it so far, but we're getting there. We're getting there slowly but sure. I'm just trying to get the carburetor dialed in. You guys will see when I start it, it has a little bit of a gallop to it. It'll start idling really smooth. And then after a couple minutes, it'll gallop, stop, and run smooth. Gallop, run smooth. So I'm just trying to tune the carburetor. Having a little bit of trouble. If any of you guys have any suggestions, you know, comments, anything like that, just go ahead and leave them in that box down below. I'm always open to criticism. It makes you a better person, makes you better at everything, and if you can help, you can help. I'm always open to some advice, you know what I mean? So I think, without further ado, oh yeah, I would recommend, again, pick a set of these up if you have a Grom or a Grom clone. I had to modify this for that ZS212, but you know, it was worth it. It doesn't matter, doesn't damage the integrity of anything. My boy at ZNZ Customs, if you're watching this video, you make an awesome product, dude. Keep what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing, and I'm very pleased with your product, just to say the least. So without further ado, I think we're gonna start her up and see how she sounds. You guys ready for this? Let's see if we can see that gallop when it happens. It'll happen here in a second. RPMs, it'll gallop. There it goes, see? I don't know if it's just a cold issue, but it does it every time, and it's a little bit annoying. I think I got a little bit of a lean spot up in the top of the mid-range that's giving me some issues that I'm trying to tune out of it. Anyways, I'll see you guys back when it's warm, and then we'll give it a couple revs. So to make this carburetor fit in here, I had to cut this bottom panel off of here, but it looks like it was meant to be, right? Looks real good. Yeah, it's this bike is so much fun, I gotta say, guys. I would definitely recommend getting you one. 1,700 bucks. It's just 2 weeks of your unemployment payments. Nah, I'm just joking. Ooh, this thing's moving some air for sure. Oh yeah, so I got something to show you guys how much it's moving here with some of these gloves. And that's with the baffle in there too. You take the baffle out of there and it gets pretty insane. It gets super loud. It sounds like a 250. Ah, there she goes, idling nice and smooth now, and then it'll start picking up again, and it'll gallop. I think it's just a cold start issue, if we're being honest, but it's just a little annoying. I shouldn't have that problem. I should just start and idle smoothly. Let's see, is she warm yet? Yeah, she's warm enough for a couple. There she is, boys. See you guys next time. Have a good one. Moto Dad Matt's out.